Suzanne. I am a writer and an author and obviously a podcaster.
Hi, I'm Mychal. I'm a sommelier, tarot card reader, and former ballerina. And this is...
And also a podcaster.
Oh, also podcaster. Well, you know. It's in there.
She's got so many things.
And this is All the Woo.
A to Z.
This is our second episode of our December Seasonette, where we're just kind of doing a...
This one is going to be, when we were talking about it, when we planned it, way back in the beginning of time, the idea was that we would sort of do an energy update because it was going to be post-election and all the things. And because it's post-election and all the things, it is going to be an energy update, but it's going to be a very personal one.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about politics or anything like that. So just heads up there.
Yeah. So this is just going to be kind of what's going on with us.
Yes.
So that said,
Still,
sit down.
Yeah. Always, we're non-judgmental table where we're just sharing our own personal experiences in a real way this time. Not that it's not real, but in more personal way this time. You're going to learn more things about us maybe than you want to know. And yeah, we just hope that you're entertained.
Yeah.
So instead of you asking me, I'm just going to tell you, all right, beverage.
Because it is so on point.
The moment that I told Suzanne what the beverage was, she started to laugh out loud.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So there is, I'm not really a beer drinker, just so that you all know. Everybody has their alcohol that they had the bad experience with. Beer was mine. But that being said, we're having an exception today where the beverage is beer. And it's a local brewery to Dallas called Peticolas. And they have a beer called Sit Down or I'll Sit You Down. It seems to be really appropriate to my life recently. So,
and over the years, Mychal and I have kind of joked about how sometimes when we're not listening like we should be,
yeah,
it feels like the universe is like, I'm going to sit you down.
Yes.
And so I'm not casting aspersions on Mychal, but she got sat down.
I got sat down. I got penalty boxed by the universe. Yes.
So she's not sitting here in a brace or on crutches anymore.
Note anymore. Yes.
But that has been a little bit of the state of her personal union.
Yes. It's been real fun over on my side of things. Yes. So where do we start?
Well, I feel like we already have.
Yeah. Yes. So I was also just going to say, I really think that we should let you know our personal setup right now. It being just like, it's like right before December when we're recording this. It's the end of November, about to be December, and I'm sitting on a heating pad because it is cold. But I also have a mosquito zapper in my hand because the mosquitoes don't know.
And they're
inside of the house. And there's a lot of them. I don't know what's going on.
It's like some kind of horror movie.
They haven't gotten the memo of what the season is yet. I'm not sure.
We have both been bitten a couple of times.
Yes.
Alcohol does not seem to be dissuading them at all.
No.
So,
as a matter of fact, one of them landed on Suzanne's glass at one point. I'm like, the mosquito is attracted to your beverage. So I'm picking good.
Not Baptist mosquitoes.
They agree with my choices.
There you go. Confirmation from the insect world.
Yes.
Or the demon world, because,
however you want to look at it.
Yeah, mosquitoes. So, yes, there's that.
Little mini vampires agree with my beverage choice. Sorry. We got a little the giggles.
Because when we're both wearing multiple layers of clothes because, again, it's cold.
Yeah.
However, apparently not cold enough, which brings up the disturbing idea of mosquitoes evolving to be able to handle hardier weather, which is just...
Maybe. I have no idea.
No.
I don't know why.
Please no.
Yeah. We don't need that in our lives.
No. But yes, it is late November and we haven't had a freeze in Texas yet, which I didn't check the almanac to see when the freeze was supposed to take place. But usually by this time, it's legitimately.
It's gotten pretty cold. It's at least hit freezing at least once.
Yeah. So we knocked out at least one round of them.
Mhm.
But yes, it feels very much like a horror story in that they're inside the house.
They're coming
Calls from the inside
It's
of the
coming
house.
from inside the house. Yes.
So yes. So I feel like we have bitten that one to pieces.
Okay, moving on. Now
Moving
that you
on.
know our situation of where we are right now.
So yes, the table is covered in marshmallows, which is apparently what we eat while we
It is our
record.
podcast fuel. Secret sauce. Marshmallows.
and bottles of alcohol and calendars,
Yes, calendars.
schedules, notes.
Little mini aliens, hippos,
Yes, my croc is in the other room,
and
but,
lots of notes.
actually, it's a gator. So yes, so that's what as far as my life,
Mhm.
my parents took rather a turn this fall. Everything's
Yes.
okay, but it's been a lot of transition and will continue to be a lot of transition.
Mhm.
And as I am an only child, it's kind of up to me to facilitate said transitions.
Mhm.
So my focus has been kind of there
Yeah.
for the past several months.
Yep.
But again, another possible example of sit down or I'll sit you down. So, yes, it seems like it's been astrologically, the season has been
Busy.
aggressive.
Yeah. A lot of people have said a lot of different things. Astrologically, there's so much going on right now. I think a lot of astrologers
Have fatigue.
fatigue, but also like have no idea, like excluding any kind of political things because we're not going to talk about that. But in general, the energy is still crazy right now. Like I think,
Well, there's so many things in transition, and we as people, I think, keep trying to want to make things be okay. This is our new normal, and it's like,
right.
no, the new normal is not going to be here until like 2028.
Oh yeah.
Like it is just a roller coaster with Uranus obviously going to be moving into Gemini, but not moving into Gemini like 1, 2, 3 Gemini, but like in and out and in and out.
And Pluto having just finished doing the in and out, and now officially in Aquarius.
And then Neptune getting ready to go from, peace, love, and puka shells Pisces
Mhm.
into sit down or I'll sit you down Aries.
Mhm.
So that's going to be another huge one.
Yeah. And then the Saturn-Uranus conjunction.
Yeah.
To like all these things that, and what I mean, like astrologers don't know. Not that they don't know, like, but what I mean is that there's all of these different things that historically
Mm-hmm.
have brought up a lot of change.
Mm-hmm.
At different times, all of these different elements have brought up so much change in the world, in the history of what we can see.
And we have them happening all at the same time.
Right. So it's hard to gauge how it's all going to work out. Right. And also, our culture now being vastly different than how it's been in the past too. How is that going to look now with these new lenses on? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we have all this technology that now factors into it that wasn't a part of things before. So it's hard to say. I keep on saying, I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to get my popcorn and I'm going to be really just entertained by watching everything that kind of happens worldwide and with everybody, because it's not just a societal thing that's happening overall, but also personally, individually with
Mm-hmm.
people, their lives are getting weird left turns that you couldn't have anticipated or planned for.
That would be Uranus.
Yes. So
Abrupt stops and starts. Those would be Pluto.
mm-hmm.
Rebooting, change of your personal power system.
Right.
Also Pluto.
And these are all very personal for people based upon what it is that needs to be changed, redirected, reassessed. We're going into retrograde, which is all the re's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So rest, going into that reassessment time for whatever planet is in particular going into
Mm-hmm.
retrograde. Like as an example, me being on crutches, this is not even so this is the first time this year that I was on crutches, but not the first injury that I've had. And
Mm-hmm.
both of these things this is the second injury. Okay. So I've been in physical therapy for 2 different things this year, 2 different times, and both of them kind of happened randomly. It wasn't like an event where I fell and I injured myself, or I was doing jujitsu like I've done in the past and, injured myself that way, or dance or anything like that. I was on a work trip. Both of them actually happened the same way. On a work trip.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up in the morning in the hotel bed. The first time was I just woke up, I rolled over on my hip and I went, "Oh no. Ow, 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 ow." I had somehow my hip was injured,
Mm-hmm.
and I was having a really hard time walking or getting around. I had to go to urgent care while, on the road and trying to figure out how I was going to get home, in one piece. And
Mm-hmm.
because things are different when you're carrying luggage and you're rolling things through the airport. Like, how do I now reassess how I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to get myself home? Like, all of a sudden that became just the priority.
And she is not surprisingly resistant to A, asking for help, or B,
Yeah.
being wheeled through an airport in a wheelchair.
I just figured I need to, not that I don't have a good excuse, but I've been in wheelchairs before. This is also funny. So I've been in that situation before, and I also know what it is this is a personal thing for me, to feel judged by, okay, when you're in the grocery store and you see the people on the little carts in the grocery store. I've been on the cart before, and I had my crutches on the side, because there's a reason why you don't really see people on crutches in grocery stores, because you can't carry things when you're on crutches.
Yeah, you can't pick something off the shelf when your both hands are occupied.
Or you can't push a cart either.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think about the logistics of it, but that's how. So you need to use those things.
Mm-hmm.
And because I look fairly young, and I look fairly able.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I could see in people's eyes whenever I've been on those, like that look of judgment, that I'm just joyriding or somehow taking advantage of the
Mm-hmm.
situation. And then eventually they look and they see that I have a brace on, or they finally see the crutches or something. And then they go, "Oh, oh, oh, it's okay." Like some
Mm-hmm.
kind of weird, it goes through this cascade of realizations, I
Yeah.
guess. And so I kind of feel like people would do the same thing in the airport, which is why I'm resistant to asking for the help in the wheelchair in the airport.
Y'all can't see this, but I am just
She is. She's shaking her
my
head.
head.
Okay. So then the other thing that most recently happened, what I was on crutches for, same thing. Woke up in bed on the road for work, and did a good morning stretch. And I don't know if I should say, all I did was stretch. My knee bent the way it should not bend. Let's just put it that way. My muscles were too strong for my joint. Let's just throw it out there. And then I went and was like, "Oh, well, okay, I'll go do some physical therapy exercises to make it better and like strengthen up the joint." That really just made it really, really angry, and really solidified the situation from there on. So then by the time I got home, I stopped by storage on my way home from the airport to get what I call my erector set knee brace from when I have broken my knee, and crutches. And sure, I had to call up Suzanne, "Can you help me bring my luggage upstairs?" Which that was a big step for me, I'll have you know.
It was, and I'm very proud of you for doing that. But also, y'all, I think that she was a little bit scared that if she didn't,
Yeah.
there would be chastisement.
Yes.
Which was not a word that I use lightly.
Yeah.
Because as you can see, she's very sensitive to judgment in all forms, including strangers in the grocery store.
You can see it in their eyes.
Going to get you a t-shirt that is like warding off the evil eye, so that you can just go through the airport the way that you need to, as opposed to the way that you think that other people think you should. But anyway, yes. And even then, I had to take the backpack physically off you.
You did. I was going to crash upstairs with my backpack on. I mean, yeah.
So yes, can y'all understand why maybe the universe was like, she's just not getting it?
Like, take a moment, ask for help. So as you now learn more and more about me, on the fact that I'm maybe a little stubborn when it comes to taking care of myself physically, and that I have been injured in the past from, living my life and doing fun things most of the time. But that sometimes my biggest lesson is learning how to not only ask for, but accept help
Yes.
from people. And I am aware
Yes.
of this. So, not a surprise right now. Through a lot of the astrology, the reason why I'm telling you all this personal stuff about me is that a lot of astrologers have kind of mentioned that through what we've been going through most recently, that a lot of people have been getting sick
Mm-hmm.
or having injuries, just like random stuff coming up along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And because kind of needing to take that step back and to rest, and is a means of sidelining you intentionally to kind of take care of and bring attention to the thing that you need to be paying attention to.
And also, I think to just sort of clear your plate in terms of being able to listen. That's obviously not for you, but for other people who have been in that position.
Yeah.
And I know several of them. Meanwhile, on the other end, I have been trying to get ahead of all of the things that are about to come crashing through my chart, which is all of the things. I was just sitting here kind of going, okay, I am actually in just a giant pincer movement.
I was joking. It's like, so it's like the song Final Countdown. Just like we're just waiting, trying to get to this finish line, try to get there. Yeah.
So I have been cleaning and clearing and getting rid of things and streamlining and making space and just every other synonym you can think of for that, to not to hunker down necessarily, but to just be able to make myself available for that which is essential, as opposed to maintaining things that, or parts of my life that are no longer necessary.
Right.
So, yes, I feel like I've spent weeks now of just going back and forth to thrift stores, just dropping off stuff and stuff and stuff. And getting rid of a lot of things that have been past identities. As a teacher of writing, which is what I did for 20 something years, to have gotten rid of 75% of my books.
Yeah.
So the room may sound a little bit different because there's a whole lot less padding in
It
it.
changed the acoustics.
It really did. Just now thinking about that. But yeah, I realized that as I was looking at my books, and I would just look at the title and remember what was in it. And it was kind of like, so the book is part of me. Do I need to keep the skin of it? And I did that with enough things. And then, I have books that people have signed to me and books that are really precious. So I have a very, very curated library now. But I found it very clarifying.
Yeah.
So I feel much lighter moving into the pincer.
Yes. Well, you've made space for the new.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Let's see. Other things. I've been getting more, for lack of a better term,
Witch-tastic?
even though I still don't necessarily claim that, just because I don't identify that way, but
You're becoming an herbalist.
That's part of it.
A wise woman.
Yes. So I've been doing a lot of drawing of herbs and plants and things like that.
Has your cauldron arrived yet?
It has.
Okay.
I did get that. I needed a place to burn things. That was the thing. That's safe. But I also have been drying herbs in order to make tinctures. And so I've been having like this constant rotation of, okay, so now you're dry. So now I'm going to replace you. I'm going to put you in the jar. And then I get out the other one so that I have this backup of herbs and things like that. Not just for cooking, but like I said, like tinctures.
Are the fairies loving this?
Oh, I'm sure. They're also loving the fact that I finally got started on their flower shop thing. They're very excited about that. Let's see. I've also created a little autumnal gathering of, it's a craft project, but it's basically you go out into nature, grabbing the things that are of the season, that kind of show the season that way. And so I did a little gathering of those kinds of things. And then I created something that's visually appealing. And so I contained it, but then I put in a little fairy area. So they're very excited about that.
I know you've done lots of cooking with pumpkins.
Oh, yeah. I've been like actual pumpkins. So I'm not just like buying pumpkin in a can or anything like that. I bought a fairy tale pumpkin. I did ask.
I thought about actually if the fairies would. I dreamed one night about making wire, sort of lacy wire wheels for it.
Ooh, but I finally
And
cooked it
then,
though.
yeah, and then I realized that I had given away my wire and all my tools. So,
So that wasn't going to happen. No,
no.
but I did go to the farmer's market and I had a conversation with the farmer to ask, saying like, hey, because I was not only going to make a pumpkin pie, like a traditional pumpkin pie, but also a savory pumpkin pie. So I know there's probably some pumpkins that are better to use for that kind of thing than others, asking for recommendations. They said that sugar pie or else the fairy tale are the best tasting to use. And I was like, okay, well, I'll use a fairy tale because I've never had that variety before. And I had it on deck for decoration for a little bit of time, but then eventually, about a week ago, I broke it down and finally made both my savory pie and my traditional pumpkin pie after practicing on regular smaller
She took
pies
advantage
or
of the
pumpkins.
temperature dipping below 80 for just a couple of
It's
days.
very excited about the slightly cooler temperatures. Yes. So I've been doing that, but then I've also been having dreams about that I need my own broomstick, and that's also something.
And she hasn't even seen Agatha.
I know. I even had been having classes in my dreams about learning how to do magical things. I've been reading about structure of spells, even though I don't myself practice them. I still find it important to understand the structure of how things operate. So
Virgo.
I like to know. So even though I don't necessarily do it, I like to at least feel like I have some kind of mental grasp around its workings.
I love Jennifer Garner, the actress, since probably Alias, like millions of other people. And she did her first podcast with some friends the other day.
Oh.
And she mentioned something about, they asked her, what would you tell your teenage self or whatever? And she said, I'm going to be summarizing a lot, but follow the weird fascinations that you have because knowing stuff makes you happy.
Yeah.
Like it just, when you go to a museum and you know the art pieces, those are the pieces you go to see because they make you happy. And as I was thinking about this, it was like, and she had mentioned in a previous part of the conversation that what she loved most about all of the different, many, many things that this very busy woman does are the relationships. And it was like, it's because of the relationships. So we like to know things because it puts us in relationships. And I think that that is maybe one of the most woo concepts, is that we as human beings, as individuals, are in a relationship with everything around us.
I was going to say with people or things. Okay. All the above.
Everything.
Yes.
And that it is we're all alive to some degree and we're all interacting in some level. And it is not a mechanical construct. It is not a dead world. It is not, hopeless.
Yeah. Nothing is a silo.
Everything moves and everything breathes in some form or fashion. And that is the beauty of looking at the world through a woo lens, is that everything has the potential to change.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. Everything affects everything.
That's why as above, so below makes so much sense. It's not, everything affects everything.
Right.
And so that's why being positive and being in our personal kingdoms where we are loving things and mastering things and engaging with things and people and all of that really does affect all of reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is why I love learning about it. I always think, I'm like, I do want to, interesting. I want to learn about that thing. Constantly, majority of my free time is always investigating new things because I always want to know. I always kind of joke that that's also kind of the personality that wine people typically are,
Mhm.
is that we're typically A-type personalities, that we love learning about things and that there's so many things to learn about when you're studying
Mhm.
wine. So it attracts a certain kind of personality.
Mhm.
And it's typically those kinds of personalities that are drawn to that subject because it involves so many different
Mhm.
elements and constantly can feed you knowledge that you can never come to the end of it,
Mhm.
which is
I
fun.
uh I had a friend who at one point was like, I would have never thought that you, me, um, would have been sort of the steady one career-wise.
Mhm.
And it was kind of like, no, see, what writing allows you to do is go into a million different topics
Yeah.
and 1,000 different research projects and put things together in so many different ways. And it's all looks like it's the same thing.
Mhm.
But in reality, I've had like 20 careers in the time that you were thinking I was so steady.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, the constant search for knowledge and for me of putting disparate things together. Like
Mhm.
I think one of my superpowers is synthesis.
Mhm.
And yeah, and again, I think that is just such a woo thing. And I think that in some ways, writing gave me the permission to study all these things that I was fascinated by without having to come out and say, oh, actually, I'm a woo person.
Yeah.
And so, obviously,
And here we are.
yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the Christmas star, yes?
Yes, we are.
All right. So I guess join us next time,
All the woo.
A to Z.